What's up, guys? In this video we're going to talk about how to ethically care for your pets. Okay, specifically dogs and cats. I don't really know too much about other animals and taking care of them and stuff like that. Dogs and cats, I would say I know a fair bit about them and how to take care of them. So that is what we're going to talk about in this video. Okay, now before we get into that, if you guys have not subscribed to my channel, click that subscribe button. I try to make videos every day about fasting, fitness, try to keep it non-mainstream so you guys have something interesting to watch that hopefully you don't find on the rest of the vanilla white bread YouTube channels. Okay, no offense to anybody in particular. I just like to do things a little differently, okay? Also, check out legendarysuitjamas.com. They make silk pajamas that look like suits, exactly like this one that I am wearing right now. It's very comfortable, it's very light, and they're pajamas that look like a suit. So, I don't know, it's pretty cool. Link in the description if you want to check them out. Now, let's talk about ethically caring for your pets, specifically dogs and cats. Now, if you live in America or in a Western country, you probably haven't seen too many stray dogs or stray cats because those animals are fairly well controlled in the US. You know, you've got exterminators that go around, they grab them, bring them to the pound, and, you know, try and give them away or kill them, unfortunately. Okay, but I've been many different countries and it's not the case really so much over there. And I will tell you that the wild dogs and cats, like, I'm not talking about like wild African dogs or, you know, tigers or anything like that. I'm talking your average house cat or some mutt that just happens to live on the street and eat out of the garbage and not in an apartment in a Western city. Okay, now the difference that you'll notice between those wild animals and the domesticated ones is that the wild ones are generally leaner. Okay, they're very wiry and they just seem more alert and awake, obviously because they have to be, because at any second, you know, some rival animal can come and, you know, fuck their shit up. Okay, so the point of what I'm trying to say is that the natural state of animals, dogs and cats, let's say, regardless of whether or not they're domesticated or not, the natural state is not to be fat. Okay, this is very similar to the natural state of humans. Human beings are not meant to be fat. Okay, being fat is not normal. Having all these health problems is not normal. It's a symptom of the modern world that we live in. Just because, or not everybody, but many people have these issues and there are entire billion-dollar industries that are built around it, that does not mean that it's normal and should be. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I want to say, like, this is America, like, you can do whatever you want, you have the right to live your life the way that you want. However, you know, do you want to be overweight? Do you want people to say to you, like, oh, it's okay, you're sick and overweight, like, they're there, as opposed to just fixing your problem? You know, my personal opinion is that it's just much easier to live as a healthy person as opposed to an unhealthy person. That's just me. Okay, now let's bring it back. Let's talk about dogs and cats. So bottom line, dogs and cats are not meant to be fat. And anytime, no offense to anybody in particular that I might know who fits this description, but I feel very bad. I feel so sad for the animals. It sounds so weird, but it's true. When I go to somebody's house or I meet with somebody and I see that their dog or cat has really bad teeth, or they have, you know, they're fat or overweight and they just, or they smell really bad, is another dead giveaway. Like, animals are not supposed to smell that bad, okay? So that's not the normal state. That's not good. If your dogs or cats are like that, then I don't want to say you're a bad person, but if you're putting all of this time into learning how you can become a healthy person, and you have animals that depend on you essentially for everything, then I would encourage you also to put a little bit of time and energy and, yeah, money also into making sure that they live as healthy of a life as possible. Okay, so here is my total bro science prescription on how to do that. Okay, now number one, I'm gonna say that most of this is going to come down to the food that they eat. Okay, so let's talk about dog food and cat food, all right? Now, I realize that dog food and cat food, everybody feeds their animals dog food and cat food. It's common, everyone does it, and that's essentially what most animals that live with people eat. Now, does that mean that it's good? No, it doesn't, okay? Imagine, let's say a dog or a cat lives 15 years, right? Now imagine that for 15 years of your life, all you eat is kibble, okay? That's processed in some factory, that's mixed with all kinds of God knows what. All of the nutrients are boiled out of it or baked out of it at super high temperatures. You're essentially just living on flavorless calorie mush that is designed to just keep you alive, right? Like, bottom line, and again, some people might think this is crazy to think, but you should be feeding your animals actual food and not kibble. Okay, like I give my parents hell every time I go home, for a visit, and I see them feeding their dogs dog food, because I just hate the idea of dog food. I don't know. Hate the idea of dog food, hate the idea of cat food. I don't care what's in it. You can put beef in it, you can put lamb, you can put whatever you want in it. At the end of the day, it's processed to hell. It's not natural. And it's more than likely that most of the nutrients are completely gone. And forget about all that, okay? Bottom line, it's gonna be inferior to actual raw food that you feed them, specifically raw meat, okay? Or eggs or whatever else you wanna feed them. Now, you guys know that I'm a huge fan of raw meat. Like, I will eat raw meat every single day, wherever I am, whatever country I'm in. I'm going to the store, I'm buying raw meat, I'm bringing it back, I'm eating it with a little bit of salt, maybe a little bit of hot sauce or barbecue sauce or whatever. But that's 80 to 90% of my calories every single day, okay? Now, the reason I do that, and I've said this before, but the reason I do that is not to like impress people on the internet, but because I feel better when I eat raw meat than when I eat anything else. Okay, if I felt better eating Lucky Charms and fucking ice cream bars, then that's what I would eat, and I would preach Lucky Charms and ice cream bars. But I don't, okay? Until now, at this point in my fitness journey, whatever you want to call it, raw meat, specifically raw beef, seems to be the most nutrient dense. Lately, I've actually been eating a lot of raw pork that I didn't know was pork. I thought it was beef, but I felt fine. I still feel fine. I wake up in the morning, my stomach feels good. I don't feel bloated. I don't feel ill. Bowel movements are on point. Sorry, too much information, but it's very important to have those bases covered, right? I'll make another video about this, but you can tell a lot about your level of health by, the type of bowel movements that you have. Okay, so anyway, we'll get into that in another video, maybe not, we'll see. But yeah, feed your animals a diet of raw meat. Like, I don't know, how can you not give them raw meat, right? They're not gonna die, they're not gonna get diseases. It's just not gonna happen. Like, it's the most nutrient dense food that you can give them, and it's going to give them more energy, they're gonna feel better, they're gonna look better. And I know you might think it's stupid, or it's, whatever, like frou-frou or something, but at the end of the day, don't you notice when you eat healthy food versus unhealthy food, how you feel better, right? I'm not like making this shit up out of nowhere. This is like a thing, this is true. Okay? And just because you can't tell the difference from the expressions on your animals' faces, that they feel better from eating, meat as opposed to whatever shit kibble you happen to be buying them, not trying to offend you, but and it's possible you just weren't aware, right? That it's totally normal that your animals eat kibble every day for 15 years or 10 years or however long they live. But I don't think it is, okay? Now, another thing that you can tell, like if they're overweight, like your dog or cat is not gonna get overweight from eating raw meat, right? If your dog or cat is fat, it's not getting enough exercise, and it's not eating the right foods, okay? So let's talk about exercise right now. I mean, obviously, like if you live in an apartment or a house even, you have to make the time to play with your animals or to take them on a walk if it's a dog. And even honestly, like this is gonna sound weird, but like go walk your cat. Like teach your cat to walk on a leash and take it outside. If you think about, just because your cat or dog sleeps all day, that doesn't mean that they're okay with it, right? Imagine if you were in a tiny room or a tiny apartment or a house even, the same house, your entire life, and the only time you left the house was to go to the vet or to go be boarded or whatever. Like, how often do you take your cat out of the house or your dog out of the house? Probably not that often, not often enough. You go insane. And that's why, dogs at least, cats seem to be a little bit more mentally balanced, but dogs have a lot of anxiety problems. They have a lot of mental issues, which doesn't happen to dogs in the wild. You're not gonna find an insecure dog or a dog with anxiety in the wild. or a dog that, barks uncontrollably at nothing in the wild. It doesn't happen because they're just normal, It's like they're socialized, they're normal. They know what it's like to see other people or other dogs, for example. They're not going to go berserk at like the slightest provocation, which is what happens a lot when you have a dog or cat, mainly a dog, when you have a dog that you don't walk enough. It's at home all day by itself. You come home, maybe you take it out for 5 minutes to go pee or poo or whatever because you're tired from work. And look, I get it, I understand. But if you're doing that to your dog, like how can you live with yourself? Like you decided to get this animal because you wanted some companionship, and you're not treating it the way that it deserves to be treated as a living thing that has just basic needs of needing to socialize with other living things other than you. The fact that you like cuddle your dog when you go to sleep, or you pat it on the head when it comes home. Oh, and it's so happy to see you. Yeah, motherfucker, it's so happy to see you because it spent all day waiting for your ass, going insane in your tiny ass studio apartment. Of course it's happy to see you. Anybody would be happy to see you, even if they didn't like you. They'd be happy to see anybody. All right? And if it's a cat, like, I don't know, man, get a laser pointer. Like, it's not that hard to amuse a cat. Get a laser pointer, get like get a piece of string even. It's really not that hard. Okay, so what did we say? We said feed it some different food, raw meat, no more kibble. Like, just don't buy it anymore. And I know it's expensive. I know you're going to have to spend more money on your animal. And like, what? Oh my God, I have to feed it meat every day? Yeah, you got to feed it meat. It's a living thing. You should give it the food that it needs to live like a normal, happy life. Because you better believe that if it's living in the wild, it's eating out of the garbage, and it's not eating fucking kibble out of the garbage. It's eating, old meats, old meats from that day that was maybe eaten a little bit by somebody else, It's not eating whatever. Like sometimes I see videos on the internet of people giving dogs pastries and donuts, and it's a Chinese thing called a bao, like this fluffy cloud-looking thing. And I'm thinking to myself, like, how can you live with yourself by giving that to an animal? I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit of an extreme opinion. I am like this fitness person, allegedly. So I don't know. Am I extreme? What do you think? Yeah. So anyway, leave me a comment. Let me know what your opinion is on this whole treatment of animals thing. Am I going too far? Is it totally ridiculous to feed animals raw meat and eggs and stuff like that? Is kibble fine? Am I off my rocker, or am I right? Let me know what your experience with this is. What do you feed your animals? Yeah, and that's it. Check out legendarysuitjamas.com. Peace.